Thank you again for joining our webinar to learn about the importance of cultivating the right mindset to succeed in a job search. My name is Dominika Yahim, and I am one of the employment coaches here at Spinal Cord Injuries Australia's employability program. I live with physical disability myself, and throughout the program at Employability, I support job seekers living with physical disability to strengthen their job search skills and ultimately to find and maintain meaningful employment. In today's webinar, we're going to be looking at cultivating the right mindset and managing expectations when it comes to job search process. So, where do we start with the job search journey? When it comes to starting job search, many people think they need to start by updating their resume or their LinkedIn profile, and they may forget about firstly checking in with themselves and seeing whether they are mentally prepared to start the job search journey. Many people who engaged with us at Employability um, may have been out of work for a prolonged period of time due to acquiring an injury or changing disability needs. Some may have never worked or never applied for a job before. Others may be looking at discovering new opportunities based on their current skills. And others may be in a role that is simply no longer suitable for them. And they may be looking for a different type of employment, but they lack the confidence to know where to start and to know how to find new opportunities. Whatever category a person may fall into, we would encourage every job seeker to initially hold off on updating their resume and firstly spend some time clarifying what they're hoping to achieve at this stage of their career, what their needs and expectations are, and check in with themselves whether they are mentally prepared to take on the challenges of practical job search. Managing expectations and cultivating the right mindset can make a huge difference in a job search process. So, what does cultivating the right mindset actually mean? Mindset is a set of beliefs that shape how someone makes sense of the world and themselves. It influences how we think, how we feel, and how we behave in any given situation. It means that what we believe about ourselves impacts our perceptions of success and failure. This includes employment and how someone perceives themselves in a workplace. Mindsets can influence how people behave in a wide range of situations. Someone's experience of disability can also impact what expectations they have of themselves and their employment prospects. For example, if someone has worked in a very physically demanding role, like a delivery driver or a carpenter, and at some stage has acquired an injury preventing them from returning to the same career or the same role, they may struggle to realize what they can offer an employer and in turn lower their expectations, or even believe that they are not capable of finding a meaningful job. They may think it's too hard or they don't know where to start and what else they can do. A lot of the time, the thought of looking for work while living with physical disability can be quite overwhelming. While many people are quite familiar with the physical challenges of their disability, it may be harder to recognize some of the psychological obstacles they may be facing. Previous negative experiences or unhelpful attitudes towards disability, or even critical or doubting thoughts, can steer people away from noticing what they can bring to a workplace in the same way or even more efficiently than a fully able bodied person. Sometimes people may be experiencing thoughts very similar to what we have here on the screen. Things like, what if an employer thinks it's too expensive to hire me? Or what if I won't fit into a team? What if someone else can do this job better than I can? Or what if I've been out of work for too long? Or what if people think that my disability will stop me from doing my job well? Um, while thoughts like this are quite common, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are accurate or helpful. And paying attention to thoughts like this when they first come up is often the very first step to build that successful mindset and start challenging those thoughts. There is a growing body of medical evidence that suggests that having more positive mindset can lead to a whole host of health benefits, including lower rates of depression, lower stress levels, better physical well-being, and increased ability to deal with difficult challenges when they arise. Things like employment and looking for work are also included in that. Now that we looked at mindset and what the benefits of having a positive mindset are, let's look at some helpful ways of getting into that right mindset when it comes to looking for work. So, firstly, take time to explore the reasons why you want to work and the type of roles you're looking for. There may be many reasons why someone wants to work. Think about what motivates you to get the job. It may be some of the things that we have listed here, like gaining financial independence from Centrelink, or being able to learn new skills or improve your confidence, support your family. There may be many reasons, some that we haven't listed here, but sometimes knowing your why will be very beneficial. Also, think about what are the most important aspects of the roles that you would like to take into consideration. For example, you may need to consider things like working flexible part-time hours or working from home um, to factor in physical therapy or other commitments. It's also important to notice that nowadays many companies have embraced the benefits of working from home or having more hybrid arrangements, and it can work very well for employers and employees alike within various sectors, regardless of disability status. So take time to think about specific tasks and aspects of the role that you enjoy the most. For example, it can be an opportunity to work as part of the team or wanting to utilize the hard skills you've learned through studying bookkeeping and accounting. Taking time to consider what type of roles would be meaningful to you will give you a sense of direction and help build that greater confidence that you will need to succeed in your applications. Number two, get to know your strengths and what you can offer a future employer. While it's important to consider your disability needs when looking for work, rather than looking purely at physical limitations and seeing them as a potential barrier, um, take time to recognize what abilities and what strengths you have that may be really in demand in the workplace. When you recognize the different type of skills you have, it helps to build greater confidence. Let's look at a story of one of our participants, Damien's, to give you an example of what that could look like. So Damien has signed up to the employability program after finding it challenging to find work following a workplace injury. He has previously run a successful bakery for about 10 years. And following his accident, he was left with a spinal cord injury, and he had limited function in his left arm. Throughout the employability program, his employment coach focused on building his confidence as well as sharpening his job search skills. But most importantly, what we looked at was highlighting some of his transferable skills, given that he wouldn't be able to return to the manual labor type role. So, if skills like attention to detail, for example, he has developed really well working as a baker. Obviously, he had to pay attention to detail to be able to do his job well, and skills like that could be very well utilized in a different type of role. So within about 2 months of engaging with the employability program, he was successful at securing a job at AccuSensus, one of our employment partners, delivering a high-profile road safety contract for the New South Wales Department of Transport. Coming back to cultivating the right mindset, make sure that you don't compare yourself to anyone else and keep your expectations in check. In today's world, it's very easy to start comparing yourselves to others, especially when you're competing for roles with people who may not have any physical limitations. It is best, however, if your employment goals are based on something you can and want to do, rather than something you think you should or what you think others may think you should be able to do. Keep your expectations in check. Sometimes people can expect a lot of themselves, and we can be our own worst critics, especially when something doesn't go according to plan or, as well as quickly as we hoped for. Having too high expectations when it comes to job search, for example, expecting to find a perfect job right away, or having too low expectations, like thinking you will never find a job because some of your previous applications were not successful, um, can be quite unhelpful, unrealistic, and quite disheartening. In reality, job markets can be quite tricky to navigate. Finding a meaningful role may take a little bit of time and some effort. It's important to have realistic expectations based on your current skills, based on the job market, of available opportunities, and of course, your experience. Be mentally prepared for the challenges of finding a job. As we said, the job market can be quite a tough place to find yourself in. So we would really recommend that you are prepared for the mental impact from setbacks such as rejection letters and declined interviews. Rejection, excuse me, rejection letters or unsuccessful interviews, as unpleasant as they are often just part of the process. Your mindset will impact how you see them and what happens next. If you can start to see each setback as a learning opportunity and a chance to practice and improve your skill, you will become more effective in your attempts at securing a job. We all sometimes need encouragement to keep going, especially when experiencing some negative thoughts, like what we talked about earlier. And that's why it's important to consider that the fifth point that we're making here is building a supportive community around you. Often sharing the burden of negative thoughts can help lighten the mental load of a job search and give you a drive to keep moving forward. As with any goal, looking for employment gets easier when you have supportive community around you, someone to talk to about your experiences, or perhaps even read your applications, or proofread them before you send them, or even help with interview preparations, things like that. Your support can look different depending on your needs. It can be more structured. You might ask for support from a health professional, or it can be a little bit more general support from family and friends. And of course, you may also want to consider programs like EmployAbility, where an employment coach who lives with disability, um, physical disability, can actually help you to navigate through that job search journey, because they needed to navigate through that themselves, and they have great understanding of what job search skills can be like, and what may need improvement. And that in itself can help with not only sharpening those skills, but first and foremost, just improving that confidence that will show both in your applications and in your interviews. So, in summary, how do we cultivate the right mindset when looking for work? Take time to explore the reasons why you want to work and what type of roles you're looking for. Get to know your strengths and what you can offer your future employer. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Keep your expectations in check. Be mentally prepared for the challenges of finding a job, and build a supportive community around you. Today, we have spent a bit of time exploring some of the things that may be helpful when it comes to job search and mindset and how to get there. And having said that, we cannot possibly cover everything within this short webinar, and there is a lot more to consider when looking for work. The process, as we said before, it can be quite overwhelming. That's why programs like EmployAbility exist, to empower people living with physical disability to find meaningful employment. The program has been developed by people who live with disability, and is delivered by people who live with disability. It's available online for easy access for anyone within Australia. And as part of the process, we would look at developing your employment journey plan, because everyone's employment journey is different. Will help people identify their strengths and look at their skills and new opportunities, understand and overcome barriers to employment, and build that greater confidence when it comes to skills like building resumes, cover letters, interviews, job search, and even, that actual life after securing a job, so transitioning into employment. The program also can provide people with real opportunities with disability inclusive employers or employer partners, um, just like we've heard a story of Damien before. And the best part, maybe not the best part, but one of the really good parts is it's free of charge. So all you're investing is your time and effort. Right. So, if you are not sure where you are in your employment journey and would like some support exploring your options, feel free to contact one of our employability team members via website or email, and we'll have the details on the screen shortly for you, and we'll be more than happy to help. But before we jump into the details, are there any questions? If there are any questions, please feel free to send them by the chat function. So just put them in the chat and we'll be able to address them. I might need to ask Lisa to be able to read them out for me if there are any questions in the chat box.
Oh,
No questions?
no.
That's okay. If we don't have any questions, that's all right. If there is anything that you would like to cover or discuss about the employability program, feel free to contact us at employability@scia.org.au. So that's our email address, employability@scia.org.au, or you can also visit our website at employability.org.au for more information and to express an interest in the program. All right, so thank you again, everyone who has taken time out of their day to attend today's webinar. You will receive an email from us with a link to this webinar, to the recording of this webinar. So just for your reference, if you want to review some information, it all will be there. And of course, we would really appreciate your feedback. So there will be also a link to a short survey about the webinar. Other than that, thank you again for coming, and I hope you found this webinar informative. And I'll hope to see you soon in one of our